Okay, it is 6:03. I'm gonna call the March 18th, 2025 meeting of the Rutland Conservation Commission to order. We are on local cable. Will be posted on YouTube after they do all their fun editing. And we have in the room tonight, 4 members, so we do have a quorum. We have Linda Williamson, Brian Bjorklund, Skip Clark, and myself, Jared Gentilucci. So we will jump right into our agenda here. We will start with acceptance of meeting minutes from our last meeting on March 4th. I can pull those up here.
Motion to approve as written.
Now if you want me to scroll.
Yeah, you can scroll.
I do have one minor comment on the public information session portion, Tamika. I think it's, let me see. Third sentence, where we say the bylaw proposes a 25-foot no disturb zone, which will provide protection, et cetera, et cetera. I suggest we just update that slightly to say the bylaw proposes a 25-foot no disturb zone to all wetland areas and will provide protection to isolated wetlands.
Interesting.
I don't know if I'm going too fast.
Comments on the bylaw.
Yeah.
It's about time we got too damn stringent. Stop. Be good.
I see my own error. I'm gonna update that to 213 Barre Paxton Road.
Oh, yes,
My fault.
thank you. All right,
Is that it?
yep, that's
Alright.
it.
I'll second Skip's motion.
All right. Any further discussion? The roll call, Glenda, we'll start with you.
Williamson abstain.
Bjork and I.
Clock eye.
Gentilucci, aye. All right, meeting minutes are approved. Back to our agenda here. So I'd like to just rearrange this order slightly to start with the request for certificate of compliance for Margaret Hernandez, 45 Kenwood Drive. Do we have anybody? Mark, you here for that one?
Yes, yep, this is to close out a certificate from 2019. Construction's complete, we just never wrapped up the certificate.
Okay.
The as-built plan's been submitted.
Do we have that, Tamika?
It should be.
Should be in the
Should be
share
on
file? Okay. Okay. So this is the COC request. And Mark, I assume everything's been done for
Yeah.
a while
Yeah,
at this
it's
point.
well stabilized for a couple of years now.
Okay. Has anybody been by to see it? Does anybody wanna go by to see it?
Nope. I don't see any point.
No?
On a motion to approve.
Sure, unless anybody has any other questions or comments.
not.
Approve.
Can't we just look at the final as-built?
I apologize, if I forgot to put it in the meeting folder, it would be in the address folder on the
Oh,
SharePoint.
okay, okay, let me see. Try to pull it up here.
I think it was a separate file.
Actually, if
Was
you-
it a separate file or?
You could just go to the RDA application, cause that has a
Oh, that's true.
current plan.
That's a good point, and I do have those up.
So we've also, with the
Oh, here it
compliance
is, the
request, just
address.
for the commission's information, we submitted an RDA for a pool in the backyard. And that shows the wetland buffers and whatnot.
So this is the septic as-built.
Yeah.
I think this was actually the plan we reviewed several years ago for the original NOI.
Correct, that's the design plan.
Yep.
And then under the RDA tab, you have a recent plan,
Yes, we do have that one. Yep.
if you wanna take a peek.
Yeah, I can pull that one up in a minute. Why don't we stick with the COC request, so any commission members have any comments, questions? Anybody wanna make a motion?
I did, made a
You did?
motion to approve.
I like it, thanks, Skip.
Got one of these two, gotta say yay or nay.
You're up, Glenda.
Williamson, Yes.
We need a second.
oh, second.
Alright, any discussion?
Think so.
No, okay. Do roll call,
Williamson, I.
York and I.
Clock eye.
Gentilucci, aye. Alright. So COC request is approved. And then Tamika, you'll provide the paperwork
I
for it?
will, yep.
Awesome, thank you. Alright. Just get rid of a few things here. There we go. Alright. Now we'll start with our request for determination of applicability for Margaret Hernandez, 45 Kenwood Drive. Mark, you wanna give us just a quick?
Yeah, so this is an RDA application for a pool and foundation for a future shed pool house. We filed the RDA just because we're within the 100-foot buffer, but we are well outside of the 50-foot wetland buffer. So we've provided a simple plan with erosion control and limit of work, just to show the commission the impacts. There it is, yep. So this existing house, proposed pool and proposed foundation.
So we got the existing house at the bottom of the page. And then pool in the middle. It looks like foundation, patio area.
Yeah, they're anticipating doing the pool and foundation and everything else is gonna be future.
Okay.
So it should be, all the disturbance will come with the foundation.
Yeah. Any comments, questions from the commission members?
Is there erosion control barrier still up there?
No, it's all, I take that back. Some of the wood chips are in place down by the street. But everything back here is pretty much gone. There might be a little bit left, is it, Joe?
Yeah, I don't think we did much back there anyways. That was
Yeah.
all well away from original construction.
Yeah, even though we're within 50 feet to the wetland it's north on the paper, but it's actually east.
Mhm.
So if you, north on the paper, we're actually down gradient of that wetland anyways. It flows to the left-hand side.
Over to the side?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All the erosion control we did was to the left on this sheet originally.
Okay. That's probably. Oh yeah, there's the old erosion control line from when the
Yep.
house was built. Yeah, and I noticed this area, it looks, based on the old plan, it looks pretty flat back there in the backyard.
Yeah, yep. And then, yeah, most of this is in current lawn area, and then we have the limit of work shown at the erosion control line.
Is it gonna be a chlorinated or saltwater?
Saltwater.
Okay, so then with those, do you have to worry about dechlorination before you discharge the pool water? Is that not really a factor?
I think we're far enough away where if there's a backwash over land, it still has to go pretty far. So I think it would naturally dechlorinate before it got there, I guess, to answer your
Yeah,
question.
cause you can get dechlorinating agents before you drain it or discharge. That's like a standard condition.
Okay.
I don't know about saltwater as much.
Well, I think it's still, even though it's salt, it still creates the chlorine.
I think,
It's just
yeah.
the chlorine
It's at a
comes from
lower-
the salt.
Much lower
Oh, okay.
percentage, I think, or whatever, concentration.
So instead of coming from bleach, it's coming from the salt, the NaCl.
Yeah, I would, that would be my only comment. To dechlorinate if you're gonna be discharging it. Closing it for the season or whatever.
That'd be acceptable.
And I don't know anything about the site, so. That's all I got.
Yeah, I think this one, was it 2019, was the original NOI?
Yeah,
So
late-
this was,
Late 2019.
yeah. This was a little while ago.
Be able to visit the site just to check it out?
I think we did, I'm pretty sure we did.
That was before
Yeah.
me.
Well, the house and the septic were pretty far from the wetlands. The most of the
Yeah,
work that was in close proximity is at the driveway entrance down by the street.
Yeah.
It was a little tight down there.
any other questions or comments from commission members? No?
I don't think so.
Okay. Now, technically, this isn't a public hearing, but I'll ask anyway, are there any questions or comments from members of the public? Either here or, let's see who's on Zoom, just to make sure. I see a few people on Zoom. So, any questions from the public? Not seeing anything online either. Okay. Well. Do we wanna make somebody wanna make a motion? Do we wanna talk about a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve, we don't have all night to see it.
So I needed, I assume, a negative determination
Yeah.
for reason number
So this would be,
Is it number 2?
2.
Accessory to a single family house?
let me see, I'm gonna pull up the form. I always have to check too.
2 or 3, I want to say.
So if we're thinking negative determination,
45 Kenwood.
I believe this would be.
Number 3, right?
3.
Yeah.
So this would be a negative determination under item 3.
So moved.
That's the motion.
Yep.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, roll call.
Williamson, I.
York and I.
Clock eye.
Gentilucci, aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So with the condition, with the dechlorination.
Yeah.
Do we have like a standard,
No, we don't.
do we issue standard conditions for RDs or only NOIs orders? Or just,
So they don't typically come with conditions because, well, they don't come with conditions usually unless you add a special condition. I can put that note in there. Typically I put it on a separate piece of paper because when I submit it through EDEP, it doesn't give me the option on a determination of applicability to add that. So I upload the document separately, but there's nowhere to like pre-fill it on the form.
oh, weird.
But I can make sure that
DEP,
that's,
they don't have it online.
no.
That's fine.
Well, they have the DOA online, but they don't allow you to edit anything other than the pre-filled fields.
Okay.
Right.
So I can't add the condition, but I'll upload it on a separate piece of paper.
That's weird. They have
Yeah.
some bugs to work out apparently over there. Make everyone's life easier.
It would.
For sure. Thanks.
Okay,
Thanks, Mark.
thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
To our agenda.
And there are decoordination tablets. For
I
some water
mean,
pools.
somebody's got a pool, they're gonna
Oh.
take care of it, they're not gonna
Yeah.
just throw the money
Nice.
away, come on, let's be real.
I would
Let's-
hope, I would
let's
hope
move
not. All right, I'm gonna open the public hearing for a notice of intent for Simac Realty Trust, Emerald Road, Lot 6. And do we have anybody from the?
I'm here. This is Julian. How are you?
Hey Julian, good, how you doing?
Good. So, I guess, just right out of the gate, we don't have our DEP number yet.
Okay.
So, do we just ask for an extension or continuance till the next meeting and hope for a meeting? Or how do you guys wanna handle it?
We can do it a couple different ways. If you want to just ask for a continuance, we can do that. If members of the commission would like to at least talk about the project, ask questions,
That's fine with me.
we can still do that and maybe try to get that part out of the way so that,
Yeah.
you know, when you get your
Yeah.
DP number, hopefully we'll have already gotten through all the questions and comments.
Okay, well, then I guess you open it up and we keep talking.
Okay. Julian, do you wanna just give us a real quick overview of this one? This is lot number 6, correct?
This is lot number 6. It's toward, the driveway comes off of Emerald. Yep.
Okay,
So the lot number 6 is, go a little further left with your hand,
right here.
right there, that's 6.
Yep.
So that one, we just have a very small amount of driveway, within the 100-foot buffer.
Here, I'll pull up the other plan too.
So if you look at the plan, let me just explain the plan a little bit and you'll be able to. So we've got the wetland line and then we put the 50-foot wetland buffer and the 100-foot buffer are on the plan. So if you slide up the page on that one a little bit so you can get to the street.
Yep.
Okay, so the driveway for lot 6, the one we're talking about. Oh, that's actually, I believe you're looking at lot 7. Let's make sure. Both driveways, the closest driveway, yeah, it says it, driveway for lot 7, driveway for lot 6.
Yep.
So right where the hand is lot 6.
Okay.
And the wetland is, as you see it on the plan. It's a very flat area. With very little grading. And I guess, so are we opening up the hearing and then we can go to the next step, or how do you want to do this?
Yeah, hearing's already open, Julian,
Oh,
so,
okay,
yep,
okay.
yep.
So
And,
what we've done overall over this whole project is, for a while, this property was gonna be a actual subdivision with a full-fledged roadway and everything that comes together with the roadway. But Mr. Harity had decided that he's gonna go the route of creating individual lots, not build any roadway. And here we are. So this is what we have for the project. We've kept, on lot number 6, we've kept everything out of the 100-foot buffer. As you can see by the grades, the house, the septic, the grading, the main driveway. The only thing that's within the 100-foot buffer is the driveway going right from where your cursor is, right back down to Emerald Road. So there's no resource being altered or anything. We're in the buffer zone. So we proposed a one solid erosion control line as shown on the plan down below lot number 7 driveway. That dotted line, that's going to be the erosion control right along the driveway to protect the wetlands for both projects, because the both driveways are so close to each other, but they're both individual. We're going to try to hit them out at the same time, or the same realm of time. So that's what we got for lot 6. You want to jump over to lot 7?
let's stick with lot 6 for now, cause that's
Okay.
the only public hearing we have open currently. We can
So
jump,
what we've also done, to beat to the punch, is we've done a complete drainage analysis for this entire piece of property. And that report was submitted. to show how stormwater is being taken care of. And it's under a limited impact development, and because there's like 60 acres of land for the small amount of disturbance and impervious that we're doing in that report, it will show how it was all attenuated and taken care of through the drainage report. So we did take into consideration, because there's 4 or more lots as part of this project. There's 7 of them. We nipped that right out of the gate here. So we did do a full-fledged stormwater analysis for this project.
And Julian, are you meeting, I do have the report up, not that we need to go into it in a lot of detail here, we don't wanna put anybody to sleep, but is the overall project meeting the stormwater standards fully?
Yes,
Okay,
100%.
okay,
And that there's that one 4-page document that goes in there that's stamped by the PE. That's in there that shows each checklist was checked off.
okay.
Yep. It's not bad to conform to the stormwater when you have 60 acres to do it with.
That's true. Okay. Any questions or comments from the commission? So Julian, you answered my first question, which was about stormwater.
Yep.
So that's good. I think I did notice, and I think this may just be a simple correction at this point, on the NOI, I think you had noted stormwater was not applicable.
Oh,
Let me double check. Yeah, so under 6, box B was checked,
yeah.
noting
Six.
single family home, but I think it should just be 6A, right? Or
6A. Yeah, we can do that. I'm sure that's probably gonna be one of the comments that we get from the DEP.
yeah, probably.
This is still another one of those things that I'm still not in full agreement with how it's called out. That if we have lots that aren't within the vicinity of a wetland, how are we to apply? These happen to be, yes, but they are single family house lots. But yeah, we'll fix that. Fix that. I'm sure that's going to come up. So that's what page number is that? It's page 5 of 7.
Yeah,
5 of 7. Yes. Stormwater. Okay. Yeah, that was a Scribner's error.
it's okay.
We can take care of that.
Okay, thank you. The only
We
other
did
thing
do it, so let me get credit for it.
No,
It was about a 400-page report.
I know. We'll give you credit for that. I think, and not that this matters much, I mean, these aren't single family detached, right? It's 2 units attached, like
Yeah,
a
it's a
duplex or
duplex.
townhouse, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
So that's another thing, that it's a single family allowed use in Rutland.
Mhm.
And it's one building, it's not 2 separate buildings, it's one
Yeah.
building. So there's no real category for duplexes, but for this part. But it doesn't matter, we did the stormwater anyways.
that was gonna be my question, cause my interpretation based on the type of units, stormwater standards would apply fully. And you
Fully.
confirm that that's what you're providing,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we're good there. Julian, the only other question I had was on item 4, which just notes whether there's an ORW or not. It looked to me like 98% of the property is outside the ORW, but the portion connecting at Emerald Road, there's a small section that is within the ORW.
What section is that?
It's
Because the Emerald Road is the high point, so we've got nothing flows under Emerald Road. Emerald Road is actually the high point, so anything on the opposite side of the street, and then there's a zone A way down in that area there. That is ORW, but we're not in. No water can flow from this project that direction because Emerald Road is a dam. It all flows to the back of the property.
so this is
right
the
there.
property here, right? Yep. Yeah, let me just turn
So,
it on.
Emerald Road is absolutely a high point. So if you look at the way where that blue line is,
So GIS shows it just creeping into the property a little bit, right in this corner here.
yeah,
And I think
but we
that's,
don't have anything really proposed in there.
well, that's where the driveway's connecting to Emerald Road, isn't it?
Well, the driveway is going way down by that blue line. That's the side of the area. Yeah, right where the jig and the jog are. You see the little jiggy jog area there,
Here.
right around in there.
Yep.
So, okay, well, from our topography, everything from Emerald Road flows away from Emerald Road. So nothing that we do there could ever get towards that area, if you look at the topo.
Let me find the other plan.
Emerald Road is higher than, yeah, there we go.
Yeah. So that
It's
ORW.
all going towards, it's all going towards down away from Emerald. But regardless, so what would you like to see there differently than what we're doing, if we're doing anything? I mean,
I don't, personally, I don't think it really impacts anything much. I just would suggest, I think number 4 should be checked yes, cause there is some work within the mapped ORW. But I don't think,
okay,
I don't think it impacts anything since you're meeting the stormwater standards.
so number 4, A, yes. Okay, we can do that. That's easy enough to. And when now ORW resource area, that is the actual, if we were, just to make it clear for this and for future, if I'm in the buffer, the ORW does not have a buffer zone. The ORW has a resource area zone. So if I was in the wetland, I would say you are correct. But just because I'm in the buffer of a wetland that does go to a reservoir, doesn't make it that I'm in a resource area. It's the resource. If I was crossing that resource across the street, I'd say, yeah, you're definitely right. But being in the 100-foot buffer, that's not, I don't believe that I've ever dealt with it in this form. The buffer zone's not a protected, just like the RDA you just did a couple minutes ago. That was just buffer zone. It wasn't resource. So yeah, no problem. You can allow work done because it isn't a resource area. It's a buffer zone. So,
Right. Yep.
and I hate to check that off and then have another either DEP or DCR come out and say, "Oh, wait a minute, you can't put these driveways here because you're in an ORW." And we're not in an ORW. We're in the buffer zone of an ORW, but not in an ORW.
Well,
You know what I'm getting at?
based on the GIS map, you are in the ORW.
How? How am I in the ORW?
Well,
That base map.
you see,
The green. The green is the actual wetland, and the blue is supposedly a brook, but that brook doesn't actually even exist.
the light blue, this is the limit of the ORW per GIS.
What does that mean? What part of the Wetland Protection Act says that? I'm just curious. This is the first time I'm ever hearing that they have a GIS overview view of ORW. If I'm outside 100 foot from that BVW on that wetland, how can I be? I mean, this. If you look at the same sketch what drawing you have up there, I'm up in the old cornfield where there's a couple houses already built. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right up in that area.
Yep.
Oh,
this extends pretty far.
So
you're right at the limit of it.
So that now is another resource area, or is that just I'm not following what this is. I hate to commit and say okay to something that I'm not understanding because the actual wetland itself is the ORW. I can work right up to an ORW. If I cross it, I have a whole different set of rules I gotta follow. Just working in the buffer zone, I never had anything different that I have to deal with.
The ORW is not a wetland resource area. It's they use the word resource to define it, but I wouldn't consider it to be one and the same. An ORW is a critical area, and it really only comes into play. One instance I can think of is it comes into play with stormwater standards.
Okay.
But with respect to wetlands protection, I'd have to look. I'm actually not sure if it's even mentioned in the WPA, because it's more related to whether or not it's a critical area. ORWs are considered critical areas, and then that can impact stormwater standards.
Okay. Okay.
If you want, we're gonna continue the hearing anyway, so if you
Right,
wanna, if you
I'll
wanna
look
look
into
into it more and
Absolutely.
contemplate that, I think that should be checked yes under item 4, because
Okay.
the driveway connections technically are in the
They're in
limits.
They're in that GIS window, there's no question about it. I
Yeah.
just don't understand what that GIS window is. But that's okay, I'm learning what it is now. So if we're in that, yep. It's in that zone, as long as we're not altering, that's where I'm getting hung up a little bit, that if I showed alteration in that zone and I was 100 feet away from your wetland, we would not even be talking, just like the house lots that are up in the field. Those didn't file notice of intents.
That's correct, from a wetlands
So
protection
that's just in my
standpoint.
head. Let's look through this through, and if it's in that GIS zone and it says, yeah, you're there, I'll just change that form also, no problem. That's easy enough. Perfect. Are there any other questions?
Second, anybody else on the commission? I have nothing else.
No, just site visit,
Oh,
if we're allowed to,
Well,
are we
yeah.
allowed to go on the property?
Well, yeah, you are, but this is the one we did the NRAD on last summer. So, I mean, you can go out there if you want. I'm not gonna go out there. I'm actually not around, number one, for a week or so, but that's the one we did the NRAD for. And you guys, we have that we submitted that with this.
Mhm.
That showed that we walked every flag all the way around the whole property.
Oh, yeah, okay,
This is the one we did that in the summertime.
gotcha.
Glenda, we can come back to that in a minute. We
Okay.
can talk about still doing a site visit if you want to.
Yeah, you can definitely go out there. I mean, you're gonna
Okay.
see the flags, you can see everything that was there, so.
I do remember walking this one. I'm
Yeah,
forgetting.
we walked all the way down. We did the entire, cause like I said before we started, this was gonna be a complete subdivision and we were gonna utilize the entire piece of land. I think we had like 25 or 26 house lots. And we ended up with 7 house lots instead of doing a subdivision. So why we did the NRAD was so that I knew what we were dealing with as far as where the wetlands are for a subdivision. But we're not doing it now, so
You and I went to
we really are staying away. And then everything else we've done, I've kept out of the 100-foot buffer except for these 2 lots.
Okay. Well, Glenda, let's come back to that. Let's
Okay.
go, members of the public. Yep, just state your name.
Jim Harity from Simac Realty.
Hey, Jim.
So I'm trying to understand what's going on here, because the last few years is these new environmental regulations that keep popping up that I have to wrap my head around. So on, say, call it the north side of Emerald Road, we have that wetland area.
Mhm.
And then there's also that blue area kind of mirrors a little bit, I think, of a zone A. But that blue area is different than a zone A now?
Zone A is different from outstanding resource waters, yes.
And so what is that blue line?
The one we're looking at right now?
Yeah, so what is that? So like the wetlands, at the point of the wetlands at Emerald Road, you only have like, a small area and it ends.
Mhm.
And then it expands, up into on the other side of Emerald Road.
Yep.
So how does that get determined and what is that?
So the outstanding resource waters, or ORWs, are not wetlands. They are different from wetlands. What you're seeing in green, the green outline, and some of actually even the blue linear lines, those are GIS mapped wetland resource areas. An outstanding resource water is not a wetland. It's considered by DEP, it's referred to as a critical area. And I mentioned one instance that I'm familiar with it, is if you have a project or work in an ORW, it can kick in some additional stormwater standards, potentially. It doesn't on every project, but it can potentially kick in some heightened standards from a stormwater perspective. I'm sure there's probably other things working in ORW might kick in that's beyond this commission, beyond wetlands, beyond stormwater. I wanna say there's something related to stormwater pollution prevention plans that you have to provide additional copies to DEP if you're in an ORW. But it's different from the wetlands. They are not one and the same.
And so,
How does it affect you, right, Jim? That's what you're asking.
oh yeah, but I'm also trying to educate myself here a little bit too.
Yeah.
And, you know, so how is that determined?
The
So like-
ORW?
Like that, the blue, you know, streamline, you know, that's,
From the guy behind the state GIS
yeah, so like that blue,
system determining it, that's how.
that blue, you know, the blue line is non-existent because Emerald Road stops any flow from going through. You know, so
Right, that blue line is wrong. There's no brook there.
So how does, you know, how do we know that this resource area, the ORW is actually, you know, what it is? Is it determined by topography or is it determined by,
Should be. It
It's
should be everything that,
topography is probably one thing that they use, aerial mapping, topography. But you're right, I mean, even the wetlands, I
when,
wouldn't
when
consider
did they
it
start
as
this
accurate.
particular map? The outstanding water resources. How long has this been in the the options to pick? Cause,
This has been in there for a while.
Long time.
Yeah, long time. I can't tell you when, but as long as I've been looking at GIS maps, so it's been a while.
so in the stormwater, I'm positive we're gonna be all set with what we've done, cause I mean, how little we're doing in that little corner of this piece of property.
Mhm.
But I will make sure, and that will be a moot point, but for the future, I just gotta look at this. There's another reach that they've taken out that really, I'm not sure what the science is behind it, like what you're trying to get at, Jim. I mean, is it topography? Why wouldn't it follow the zone A situation? That's where all the water's concentrating and going down to the pond eventually. But nor here nor there. Let's move forward, and I'll make sure that my drainage analysis does not deal with anything in there that would be not allowed in there. And I think we'll be okay.
And Jim, just to elaborate on that, it's very possible with any GIS info, it's approximate. It may not be accurate. So if something, if let's say the ORW were to require more work on this particular project, which I don't think it will, but let's say it did hypothetically, if you, Julian, reviewed and said, we think this limit is incorrect, you could certainly talk to DEP about that, and if they agree with you, we're gonna agree with them. It is approximate, and even the wetland lines here are approximate. Those things need to be verified in the field.
And we did on our site.
You
we are
did,
verified.
yes.
So what we'll do, Jim, on this is we'll make sure that we don't need that little blue area as part of our stormwater design whatsoever. Because we're using 60 acres of land. I don't think it's gonna be an issue whatsoever in this particular case, luckily. Because it could be a problem. If that was just a single family house lot in that corner and all of a sudden we had to do stormwater on it, that could be an issue. Like on the other three lots that you already built and sold. I mean, that's another reach of regulation that seems to be without any science that we can use other than, oh, here it is. If you're in this area, you got to deal with these coefficients instead of those coefficients, which is fine. I know what we got to do at this point. And I don't know if there's any further we need to dig into this, Jim, because it's the GIS map. And I think if we show that we don't need to deal with the land that's in that little triangle, we're better off, because you'll be going in circles for a long time to get answers from them.
right? No, that sounds good. We could talk more about that later.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from any members of the public? You're here or on Zoom? Check Zoom, I don't see any hands up. Okay. So Glenda, did you want to go back to site visit? Did you want to do a site visit?
Yeah. I would say separately, like not a scheduled one.
Okay.
My schedule's too crazy right now, but
Okay.
with vernal pool season and all.
Okay.
Just as long as I know it's okay to go out, I won't get like shot or anything.
Oh, no, never think that can't happen.
We are in Rutland after all.
Bow season.
Always keep your guard up.
Wear bright colors.
Yeah.
Wear bright colors.
The vest.
Okay. Any other comments or questions from the commission?
Nope.
Okay. So no DEP number.
No.
So we will have to continue.
Motion to do so?
Here it is.
Yeah.
I'll second.
I had put a message into the state today, well, actually Friday, and no response, so
Okay,
we'll probably get it tomorrow morning, but that's usually what happens with me.
that's all right.
I think that as the commission, especially with the new stormwater standards breathing down our neck really soon, things are gonna start to change. I think we should come up with a standard, like, just, I don't know, information sheet on ORW critical areas.
Yeah.
Cause it gets confusing. There's a lot, when you have all those mapped resource areas and zones and everything, people don't get it and when they're important and when they're not. So I think if we had some kind of just standard guidance, I could work with you on that. I have a bunch of cheat sheets on, and I actually think I sent you some, Jim, on ORW critical areas and all that a while back,
I
but
don't remember.
it probably confused you more, so.
Yeah. I'm just getting my head around zone A.
Yeah, we're gonna try to simplify it as much as possible, and I know with the zone A, they go with the mapping, and then if you disagree with it, and Julian's done this a lot, he's gotten zone A, you have to actually go get a revision from Boston.
Bruce Bulk is the guy's name.
Yeah,
He's the only guy in the state. That's pretty good, huh?
there's another lady that works under him now.
Oh, they got a new one, that's
She
good.
just, yeah, she
So
sent me
two in the state of
two zone A's,
Massachusetts.
yeah, that's it,
That's pretty good.
that's literally it. And their mapping's not, there's streams mapped where there's no stream and.
It's actually a land taking.
Yeah.
It's what it is.
Right, so you're better off just waiting and getting someone out there, because I've seen that zone A shut down many developments.
Right.
It's really hard to see on the screen, but I pulled up the zone A just so
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
see.
yeah.
It's very light, but it does not align with the ORW, so it just shows how all these things.
And I went out to
Different.
where there is a brook across the street there, way down over the hill. And I did locate where it starts, and we're well outside of anything we're proposing, so
Okay.
there's definitely, we're not in the zone A with anything that's critical of a zone A for this particular project. So,
Well, we got a motion, we got a second, any discussion? Roll call,
Williamson, aye.
York and I.
Clock eye.
Gentilucci, aye. All right.
So we're continued to April 1st.
Yes, April 1st is our next meeting. Okay, thank you, Julian.
all right, so that's number 6.
So we'll move on to number 7. Hold on, let me pull that plan up here. Oops. Uh-oh. What did I click?
I did it.
Still see my screen, good. Nope, wrong one. Oh. Third time's the charm. Lot 7, here we go. I still have the old. All right, I'm gonna open the public hearing for notice of intent for Simac Realty Trust, Emerald Road, Lot 7. And here's our Lot 7 plan. Julian, anything new you wanna talk about with Lot 7?
No, that's pretty much the same thing, but this one this is the only lot that we have some work in the 50-foot buffer. Nothing's closer than 50 feet, a little bit of grading for the driveway, septic system's completely out, grading's completely out for the septic. Then we come down towards Emerald, and again, we're bottlenecking it towards the road for access, and we're right along the wetland line down in that area. But we're not in the actual wetland line, so we've avoided doing anything in the resource area whatsoever. And we'll have the same comments like you had on lot 6 with the the notices, because I'm sure we followed suit. So we'll make those corrections. And the same answers will be given on this one as for lot 6, as far as the ORW and all that. So they're relatively flat driveways, so we're not going, we don't, very flat driveways. I mean, they're going with the contour pretty much the whole distance to follow the grade, so that we'll have no issue with any runoff of any kind to speak of, because it's so flat, which is good. And we also on this one, we decided as part of the stormwater to act as a precautionary is we've got a stone diaphragm along the entire edge of the driveway, right where you get the cursor. So that will be, and that's reflected in the stormwater on how it's, what it's doing and why it's there. And it really is an assurance to protect the wetlands completely. And that's where we're coming from. And again, this is the same NRAD that we used for the rest of the project.
Okay.
So we defined that.
So I think the same comments we talked about before.
Yeah.
I'm guessing those are probably applicable here too. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I followed the same suit. So we'll
Okay.
fix both of those.
Okay. Any additional comments or questions from the rest of the commission? Yeah, Clint.
I have a question for Julian.
Yeah.
For groundwater recharge, what do you have?
I would have to look in the stormwater report for how it was handled, because there may have been some depressions in some areas, and because it's such low impact development, the recharge is handled in a couple different ways. And I can answer that better once I go through the regs and see how they came up with that, because that was one of the sections we have to say we did, and I can highlight it when I come back.
Okay. In the meantime, we can take a look at the report.
I'm gonna guess that stone trench along the edge of the driveway, I'm guessing that's probably part of it.
I would say so.
Yeah, because that's gonna provide some recharge. I forget how big it was, 2x2 or 3x3.
3x3.
3x3, okay.
Maybe by 3.
Yeah,
There's
here's the
no roof.
detail.
And then if you look,
Sure.
also, if you look at that site, at that plan you're looking at there, if you look at some of the grading, there may be some depressions that were made. That would slide it down, yeah, a little bit more so we can see. There was some areas, maybe not on these particular lots, but I think, all right, like up on lot number 3, we've got a stone berm.
Mhm.
We got a little depression in the stone berm. So that's probably something that's got noted out in the drainage. And each driveway has that stone diaphragm. So I'm sure it is as all part of that to answer that. So I'll dissect that for you and show you where it's coming from when we come back.
Okay, thanks.
Linda, do you have any other questions?
That's all, thank you.
Okay. Do we have any questions from members of the public? No one here. Check Zoom. Not seeing any hands raised. All right. Well,
Motion to continue.
I'll second.
all right. Any discussion? Roll call.
Williamson, I.
York and I.
Clock eye.
Gentilucci, aye. All right. Julian, we will talk to you on April 1st.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Jim, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, Julian, thanks.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Close out a whole bunch of minutes here. Yeah, we do have the full stormwater report, so we can take a look at that. I think that'll be good for us to look at it before the next meeting, so we can ask any questions too.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see, I'm gonna open the public hearing, notice of intent, Evan Sawyer, 40 Barre Paxton Road. Evan, welcome.
Thank you.
Floor's yours, and tell us a little bit about your project, I'll pull.
Okay, I'm back.
There we go, Julian.
You never left.
Yeah, I left, but I'm back. I don't know if we can bring up the plan. So this is a single family house on
Here we go.
Route 122. And what we've got, we flagged the wetlands, which are towards the front of the site. Just slide the drawing up there. Yep. So now let me just do a couple clarifications on the plan so that the zone A that's depicted on this plan says flood zone A. That's the FEMA from FEMA maps. That's not the same as zone A watershed protection. So they all call zone A. So this does not have any ORWs. This is on the other side of town where nothing goes from this area towards any reservoir lands. So there's no ORW. So we start out with that. We all on board with that?
Yep.
Okay. So now we got a single family home with a Title V septic, a driveway. The driveway is way up against the property line. It's well outside the 100-foot buffer zone, and it's actually existing. That's there's already a road driveway going to the back of this area in existence, and he's going to utilize that. We're pretty much out of the 100-foot buffer with a lot of this, almost all of it, except for a little portion of the driveway down towards the bottom of the page. And we're got erosion control following that, and that'll also be the limit of work. And it's close to the 100-foot buffer line, but you know, it meanders here and there. So I told Evan that it's so close that let's file a notice with it and have everything out on the table so there's no issues during the construction itself of any questions. So I know we got to do a site walk on this one because we haven't done that yet. So if you guys want to, and we don't have a DEP number.
Yeah, and the folks that walked it were Joe and back when and Peter as well.
Okay.
Right, Joe.
That was
Delaquila
years
and
ago at
Peter
this point.
I don't think, has anybody here walked this one? Right, no, okay, all right. That's fine. So it looks like this looks like the 100-foot buffer line.
Yeah.
Get that right,
Yeah.
Jake? Okay.
Yeah.
And, okay. So it looks like, yeah, 100-foot buffer goes here, so a vast majority of the work is beyond the 100-foot buffer.
Correct.
Okay. Any questions or comments?
Were you able to determine if the flood zone A was the same as BLSF in this instance?
This flood zone is taken off of the firm map, the FEMA maps, the government maps that for flood insurance. So we from the GIS information we're given, because there is no actual flood number, no flood elevation.
No flood study, okay.
Yeah, it'd have to
But
be
it's-
to have an elevation.
But it's
Okay.
but it's the depiction from what they consider. And grade wise, we're not doing anything below that grade. And that's where they call a flood area. So we're not filling anything within that area. So we haven't altered anything as far as the flood zone is concerned.
So Glenda, it would be considered bordering land subject to flooding. And if they were filling any of that area, they'd have to provide compensatory
Compensatory
storage, but they're outside of it completely. It looks like right here, it's probably the closest is right here, but it's
Right.
just outside the line, so.
Right.
So if there's no fill in floodplain,
Okay, I just didn't know if he wanted to BLSF on the flood zone A line, or does that make sense, or does it matter?
I don't personally think it matters. They're really one and the same, so. And Julian, it looks like you've got a detail, silt fence, straw wattles for the erosion control and protection. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that seems good. Okay.
We made great pains to bring the proposed house location back as far on the property as we could, just to be well outside any wetland buffer. So the proposed driveway is actually nearer to 750 feet or so off Route 122.
Okay. Anything else from commission members? No. Do we have any comments, questions from members of the public here or on Zoom? Not seeing any hands raised, okay. Tamika, no DEP number yet in this one?
No,
Okay,
not that we got as of 4 o'clock this afternoon.
okay,
And I also followed up on it, but we'll see. Hopefully tomorrow morning, maybe.
yeah,
Probably.
That's happened like probably the last 10 times. The day after the meeting, I get the number. But it's all right. It's only 2 weeks.
okay. All right, well, with no DEP number, so we will have to continue the hearing unfortunately. But this will probably be an easy one next time. So I'll entertain a motion to continue
Jared,
the,
excuse me, before you do that,
Yes.
do you guys wanna schedule the site walk while
oh,
everyone's here?
yeah, sorry.
Maybe for next Saturday, I assume Julian's still out of town.
No, that's all right. I got Zach. My guy Zach's gonna be here, so we are okay. You say, tell us when you want to do the sidewalk. I got my guys there to show you.
Let me guess, in the 22nd?
Yeah, either 22nd or the 29th at your usual time.
Does anyone have weeknights available instead of Saturdays?
Weeknights are tough for me. But you
Okay.
don't have to plan it around my schedule.
Okay.
Yeah, are Saturdays tough for you, Glenda? Yeah, okay.
Yes, and Sundays.
And Sundays, okay.
I know it's later now, so whatever you want. If you got,
I don't know, Brian, what works well for
I
you?
can do Friday or Saturday,
Okay,
generally.
okay. Skip, I know Saturdays are usually tough for you, aren't they? Yeah. If you wanna do Friday.
It has to be in the evening, you know,
Yeah,
6.
yeah. Yeah, probably. I'd say maybe plan, I don't know, 5-ish, 5:30,
Okay,
if that works for people,
yeah, we can,
around work schedules and
Then have
such.
Which one?
Friday?
Friday, would Friday work better for you, Glenda? Either Friday the 21st or Friday the 28th.
At what time, sorry?
5:30.
Whatever time works.
The 21st would be best for me.
Where the sun's still out.
Yeah.
Why don't you just schedule it then and I'll try to make it.
I'll also let Tim know,
Okay.
because he's able
in
to
case,
review it
yeah.
ahead of time and can
yeah.
come.
So the 21st at 5:30? You want to do that?
So, I can't make either Friday.
Or just do a Saturday morning too.
I could probably make this Saturday
I can do
or the
this Saturday.
following Saturday work, probably.
I might be able to too. Okay, so do 22nd.
22nd, 10 AM.
Sure.
Does a better time work for you, Glenda? I'm flexible on
No,
time.
that's okay.
That's fine, okay. So we'll plan for the 22nd at 10 AM.
22nd, 10 a.m. Okay,
Okay.
we can do that.
Evan, does that work for you? That's perfect, okay. Julian, that works for,
I'll
Not-
I'll
not
have
you, but yeah.
representation there.
okay,
Yep,
sounds
somebody
good.
will be there.
40
Okay.
Barry Paxton.
Yeah.
All right, 22nd, 10 AM. Okay. Now I'll take a motion to close the hearing, or sorry, to continue the hearing.
So moved.
And I'll second.
All right, any discussion? Roll call.
Williamson, I.
York and I.
Clock eye.
Gentilucci, aye. All right, we will see you on the 22nd, and then we'll have you on the agenda for April 1st.
Sounds great.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's see what else we've got on here. We already covered that one, so I think we're done with public hearings. We are. Okay, moving on. Property concern 213 Barre Paxton Road.
Here we
Evan,
are.
Welcome again. Let's see, so this is the,
The 2024.
we did a few site walks on this one. And I think Tamika, you had reached out, and we had talked about this at the last meeting, that, the last time we had talked about this was, we had the enforcement order, which allowed you to get the remediation work done, that's, assuming that's complete.
Yep.
Lifted the enforcement order, but we had talked at the time about doing an after-the-fact NOI filing.
Yeah,
Before the
so
work.
that was a recommendation of the DEP,
Yes,
from
that's right.
Becky Gendro. So I had found that email in my emails and shared that on the drive as well, and so that was the direction of the board at the time,
Yep.
last May, based on DEP's recommendation.
Okay. I'll turn it over to you, Evan, any questions, comments for us related to that and that direction that we had provided?
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to, sorry, Julian?
I do, a little bit. After the fact, this is kind of a new thing in my world of after the fact notice of intents. I saw you guys did one there on the rail trail, which was to me like, really? But that seems, the issue was taken care of and gone, so I think I did an existing condition plan for the enforcement order. So just so that I'm on the same page with what I have to give to the board before and after the fact is I'm just gonna give the existing conditions with nothing proposed. So is that what you're looking for? Cause I don't wanna lead anybody down any roads here that's all I gotta do and then find out there's something else that needs to be done. So the only thing I can provide is existing conditions and that everything is stabilized. That came to my mind because I was involved with the first part, was right at the beginning, there's a real steep slope that wasn't done by Evan. It was done by people previous. And it was just eroding down towards the wetland that Melissa had actually, that was her thing. She said, well, maybe we can put some riprap along this banking to stop that from happening. And it's like right at the line. So I guess I'll add that to it and call it a notice of intent to do that restoration of that banking and then show the rest of the existing conditions. And that's what you'll see. Is that what you're looking for? I guess that's the question.
Yeah, that all sounds good to me. I'll let other commission members comment as well. I think the other thing I would look for would be just the work you had done to kind of clean those areas up. I think just a plan, just noting what was done. I don't think it has to be
Okay.
very detailed, but just documenting the remediation work that you had.
Okay, yeah, because that was that big pile of wood chips that was in there.
Yes.
And we
Okay.
restored it with a berm and we kind of put
Yes.
that
Yeah.
berm permanently. I think he had done an as-built of that, so we could,
Okay.
we can provide that as well and update
Yeah,
it.
I know what we're looking for now. So this is kind of a new thing doing these after the facts. I've never done this before, but that's always open to doing whatever we need to do.
Yeah, this has come up a few times recently, and yeah, this one was directly based on some input we got from DEP, so.
Okay.
We really didn't wanna do any more work in the front, so that was a little bit where the misunderstanding come, but if that's what you guys are looking for, I wanna provide it.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
I
You
think,
have to give me, I probably won't have this done for the next meeting, but it will be very shortly when I get back. If
Okay.
That's okay.
I mean, I don't have an issue with that.
Okay, thank you.
I just check, any other commission members have any other comments, questions? I think what's been proposed to be provided, that seems reasonable to me.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay. Okay, well, I think we're good there, thank you.
All right.
Julian,
Thank you.
yeah, oh, sorry, question in the back?
Yeah, I just have a quick question. My daughter lives on Fox Run. Does this property abut that? Is that, we're talking the same property here?
Is that the condo development?
Yeah, well, they're all townhouses.
The townhouses.
Because what they've been noticing, what my daughter's been noticing is trees coming down in the back of their property. And they're just concerned about what's going on in the back there. Is there a proposed house going in here? Is that what this is all about, or?
No, we don't have any proposed use for it other than what we're using it for at the moment, which is a parking area for a truck and storage of a storage container.
Is this residentially zoned, that property?
It's in the
No, it's commercial.
town.
It's in commercial, okay, all right. So in the bylaws, that's approved, you can have trucks and storage units and stuff out there?
Absolutely. That's commercial zone. That's completely allowed to do that.
I see, okay, so there'll never be any residential because it's commercial?
No,
Okay, all right.
well,
It wouldn't be allowed
Well-
for zoning.
it would be, but we'd have to go through, that's,
Yeah.
Although zoning, I will point out zoning is not the purview of this
No,
commission.
I
so
totally
just wanna-
understand,
yeah.
totally understand, okay. Do you need permission to keep on cutting trees down on that property?
Depends on where the trees are. So it's something we would review on a case-by-case basis. If the trees are within buffer zone, if it's a safety hazard, that's one thing. We get those pretty often, and we'll allow those without a formal filing. If the trees are being like cleared, removed, roots pulled out, that's a little bit more extensive, and that would probably require some sort of filing, but it depends on where they are in relation to the wetlands.
But any work out there is not gonna have a negative impact on the drainage going into the, into the townhouses?
no, we're downstream of it.
I
We're downhill.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I remember walking this property a couple of times, and I recall it being lower in elevation than Fox Run. Yeah, cause basically everything drains to that wetland you see here,
Sure.
and
There,
that,
there actually is a
south.
detention pond from Fox Run that's dumping onto this property, which was a little concerning when I saw that. There's a pipe just heading right towards Evan's property, and obviously the water was going that direction. Yeah, there's an outflow structure in there that's definitely adding water to Evan's property, but it's in the wetlands, so I told him, don't worry about it, because it's not gonna get any higher. But if it becomes an issue, then they may have to address that also. But right now, it's not an issue.
It was something that, was prior to my ownership, the installation
Sure,
of those
yeah,
pipes and
yeah.
so forth, but one thing that I tried to go through, I understand that, their residence is right up against this property. So I took pains with Julian to ask him to flag that line out, and I'd like to erect a fence, and do what I can to just mitigate the impact for you folks.
Sure.
Not trying to not be neighborly, and, it is tough, it is a tight area, that is commercially zoned, and it's right on top of residences, but you guys have been there an awfully long time.
Yeah.
And we wanna make sure that your needs are heard also.
All right, great, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yes, question?
He answered my question. We're the ones who are closest to you.
Yeah.
Our
And you
unit.
have beautiful bird feeders.
No, that's next door.
Oh, all right.
I have them in front. Anyway, my concern was originally, we were told only dead trees were supposed to be pulled out of there. If that's the case, there's an awful lot of dead trees that were pulled out.
So recently, there was a tree that came down, we had some high winds a couple of weeks ago, and there's a truck that you probably know, backs up kinda toward the rear of the property. It's a white truck.
Yeah.
They had some big limbs come down and crush the hood of the truck. So that tree was pretty damaged and just in a bad way, and that's the tree that came down. It was closer to your property, so it was up along that dry side there.
Yeah.
But that's probably what you saw.
All right. Now, you did.
So a tree removing truck got crushed by a tree? Pretty sad. That's an omen.
It's like the firehouse in Paxton.
Well, and one thing that I wanna speak to with the folks that are, parking there is, we had a lot of brush fires at the end of last year. The folks that are using that, the fire department actually called them, and they were their first call during those brush fires, and the equipment that is there that they use, and they run out of that property in the, once in the day and bring it home in the evening, is what was used kind of in an emergency basis to help us get those brush fires under control. So, kind of from a public safety standpoint, I appreciate that those folks are nearby and they were called in an instant and helped a lot of folks and maybe helped save some homes. So it's not my business, but they have been, they have done some neighborly things for folks.
Now, you rent this out to them?
Correct.
Okay, who is it?
They do land clearing, not land clearing, they do, forestry mulching.
Is that the H company?
Yeah.
I couldn't pronounce the name. I don't know what it was.
Hype and Sons,
okay.
yeah.
Big question for you. You mentioned the word fence.
Yeah.
When and where?
This all costs a lot, so as soon as my funds are able to do that, I'm hoping to get it spring, early summer.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, I really, I don't, I understand that we're a little downhill of you, and you can kind of see straight into what we're doing.
Yeah, we're right there.
Right. So if we can offer that, I'm certainly trying to get there.
If I could ask one thing, we have brush up against our property. In the summer, it's like a shield.
Yeah.
Could you try not to get rid of that?
No, all that buffer that's there won't,
Okay.
we've left a,
I'm
10 or
happy.
so foot margin off the property line. And we don't intend on touching that, other than to put the fence right along the property line. I also, I've tried to go to Mr. Wrestler and get some arborvitae's and things, just haven't been able to get it all done prior to the restoration efforts at the end of last year.
Beautiful.
So,
We appreciate.
but just, wanna be direct and neighborly and appreciative, so,
Now, is this your house that's going on number 40?
yes, yeah. Mine and my soon-to-be wife.
So you'll be neighbors.
Yeah, 40 is up the road
I
towards
know.
Lads, yeah.
They know
But I
where you
can't,
live.
I'm gonna ask for permission, so I gotta make sure I'm neighborly with everybody, cause I intend on being back.
Evan, they're saying they know where
Yeah,
you live.
yeah,
I knew I liked it.
Technically, anybody watching does too.
yeah.
Or anybody that watches it later on the recording. Okay, anything else, commission members? I think I'm good here, okay.
Hopefully that's the final hoop.
I think
We
so.
wanna get
yeah,
there.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you, Julian, for helping out.
Thank you.
So
Okay.
I'll add that to the April 15th agenda. Is that fair, Julian? That will give you enough time?
He may have logged off already. April 15th, you said?
Yes.
Oh, so when? April 15th?
April 15th, would that work if I do it?
I would say give me one more, 2 more weeks.
So then that next one will be the
May.
first one,
Be
the
May.
first one in May, yeah, cause there's.
May would be perfect.
April.
It'll be May sixth,
Okay,
yep, May
Perfect.
sixth.
That's what we'll shoot for. Sounds good.
Okay, sounds good, thank you. Okay,
All right. I don't think I got anything else, so thank you.
Thank God, Julian.
Bye.
all right, we have letter of interest to serve on the commission. George, welcome,
Hi,
good to have you here.
nice to see you.
You're interested, I know, it is nice to see you in person. You're interested in joining the commission?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Do you want to, we have your, Tamika uploaded your letter, so we've got that. Thank you for attending our meeting tonight, and maybe just give us a little bit of background about you. I know a couple of us know you, but
Yeah, sure. My name's George Farrington. I live at 21 Cheryl Ann Drive here in town. Been in town for 12 years now. I've been a lifelong, I'm sorry, my eyes are watering like crazy right now. Whoa. So, like I said, I've been in town for 12 years. I'm originally from Attleboro. Like I said in my letter, I'm sort of a amateur expert on native plants. As of this week, I'm a 10-year brain tumor, brain injury survivor, and it cost me my career in the granite industry. And the doctors told me to find a hobby. So my wife and I had just bought our house and it needed some landscaping love. And my hobby became gardening. And the hobby turned into an obsession. You can ask my kids, I'm always reading about dirt. It drives them crazy.
I can attest to that.
I send him messages all the time about it. Over the course of the past few years, I've spent a lot of time really reworking my own little plot of land with mostly native plants, and I've watched how much more nature has come around. Not just pollinators, but birds and even large mammals, foxes. I've had, I don't know how many eggs buried in one of my front gardens. I've had a couple of the chickens that laid the eggs buried there. Yeah, we've had bluebirds now nesting in the neighborhood, so, and it's been really, really fun for me to learn about this stuff. I did go to school for environmental science at UMass Lowell. But, you know, this meeting was great. All the stuff about the wetlands and where to put wattles and stuff like that, but, you know, the conservation, in my opinion, conservation is so much more than just where to put a few hay bales. You know, it's a community effort. Our natural resources are something that should be protected, and there's something that should be taught to our kids. So I'd like to work in partnership with, I know Overlook's doing something like that, but work in partnership with some of the local farms and the schools to educate the youth about the importance of native plants, and not just the youth, but the community as well. Hold events like Big Night, things that get the community involved. Cause the more you educate the community about conservation, the more conservation is gonna happen. You know, and it can be simple little things like going out into some of the local fields and meadows, collecting wildflower seeds, and then planting them around town property. You know, it's really easy. Melissa runs a program in Southborough where they collect the seeds and everybody brings their milk jugs, and they make they fill the milk jugs with soil and duct tape them and make little greenhouses. I got like 2 dozen of them sitting out on my side deck right now. So yeah, that's my story.
Thank you, thanks for sharing.
You fit right in Rutland.
I know, right?
You're an Eagle Scout too, so you
Oh
spent your
yeah,
whole
I
youth
got my
in the
Eagle Scout
woods.
when I was 14 years old back in 1989, so I've been in the woods for a long time. I know how to read contour maps because I've been lost in said woods once or twice.
But you got out, which is good.
I did.
Found your way out. Anybody have any questions for George?
So that just popped in my head, for the community expo, we should definitely have a native plant component to it. We'll be going to Sunday, March 30th to the community expo.
You're already making changes.
See? Yeah.
I also want to add that George has been on the open space committee in town for the past 3 years.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
right, I thought it, and there, I helped bring an accessibility lens to things, you know, with regards to how easy it is for people with physical disabilities to get access to some of the local trails and stuff in town. I am an expert on that because I do fall a lot. So, but that's a story for a different day.
So you believe the town should own more open space?
Yeah,
Where do you get your tax money from without, if the open space isn't being paid for by the person that owns it?
okay, but what if you build on all the open space, what good does that do?
Well, I just see where the loss of tax revenue is, that's all I see.
The loss of tax revenue?
Yep.
You honestly think that building houses brings in more
No,
tax
I'm
revenue?
talking about open space,
There's no
town buying
businesses
up all
in
the
here.
open space. I have a farm, 160 acres,
I know you do. I've been there to collect grain.
yeah. So, and you're telling me that the town should buy my farm,
I'm not telling
And
you
take
that
it off
the
the tax
town
roll.
should buy your farm, no.
well, that's open space,
But
that's
that's
what
not,
you're talking.
you're not selling your farm, are you?
I just might be,
Well, we don't have a CPA, so we can't buy your farm, so it doesn't matter, does it?
well, we disagree on that, man, I'll
Well,
tell you
we're gonna
right off
disagree
quick.
on a lot of stuff, I can tell you that.
I like him, I think we should sign him. Can help.
Well, I will point out that George has applied to take our open position. And we can, tonight, if we want to, somebody can make a motion to recommend that. We'd have to write a letter, right, to the select board?
Yep, so if you take a motion to recommend it, I can draft a letter, send to myself, and then give it to the select board.
I'll make a motion.
Motion made, do I hear a second?
Oh, sorry, second.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Williamson, aye.
Bjorkland, aye.
Clock abstain.
Gentilucci, aye. Okay, well, we'll draft up that letter, get over to the select board and
Base with you.
Tamika, what's the process after that?
So then, George has to attend a select board meeting, to be officially appointed, so the next select board meeting is March 31st.
Okay.
So I can send you a reminder email, we'll get you on the agenda, and then we'll make it official.
Sounds good. Great, thank you.
Tamika, remind me, what's the timing for this open position? Would it be, once he's appointed, would it be immediate, or would it be July 1st?
I would have to look because I don't remember the vacancy that he's filling, how much time is left on the term.
Okay.
So I can confirm that
Okay.
and let him know, and then if for some reason it's a term that expires on June 30th, you can just submit a letter to ask to be reappointed,
Okay.
just as part of the regular.
Peter's position, right? Peter's space?
Yeah, and I don't
Yes.
remember, I wanna say Peter was only reappointed last year, so there's probably 2 years left on it.
Yeah, I
It
think
would
you
say
might
on
be
the
right.
website what the expiration date is.
How long has the seat been open?
Peter resigned in late July.
See if we can find it.
It expires this year.
Oh, it does, okay.
2025.
So then we'll just treat it as part of the regular reappointment process,
Okay.
which is not, you don't have to go through the whole thing again.
I don't have to sit in front of the Rutland Inquisition.
Be part of the Rutland Inquisition at that point.
But you do have to do the conflict of interest check.
That's fine.
That's always fun. Get sworn in and all that fun stuff.
Perfect.
Open meeting law. Robert's rules, all that.
It is fun.
I was gonna back out.
It's easy, it's
Yeah,
an easy
not-
training.
it's not so bad.
No wonder why you guys Friday nights are so booked up.
Yeah, right.
Do an open meeting law training. All right. George, thanks for coming in,
No problem, thanks for having me.
talk with you. And, yeah. We'll move that process along.
I look forward to it.
All right. Let's see, what's next on our agenda? We have review draft of the fiscal year 2024 annual town report.
So I drafted it just based on how we've done it the last few years. I've usually just gone back and forth with Melissa on it, but given her circumstances, I thought it might be better to bring it back to you guys. And you can just give me your feedback, you can say you like it, you wanna change things, whatever you prefer. A lot of it is kind of repeat information, and then I update on the membership, permits that were issued, and any other important things that happened during the fiscal year.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love the Beaver Lodge,
Isn't that fun? I got that from a resident that sent me that photo.
very
Thank you
cute.
very much, I appreciate it.
So Tamika, when would you need any, if we do have any comments, when would you need those by?
I would say within like the next couple of weeks. I'm kinda knee deep in prepping it right now, but I don't need it immediately. And then I did note in my email, the only reason Peter is not included in as being resigned was because it happened just after the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah.
So that will be reflected in next year's report.
Okay, that's right, because this goes through June 30th, 2024.
Correct.
Peter resigned shortly after that.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so if everybody can take a look, and if you do have any comments, send them along to Tamika. I was hoping to review it before tonight, but I did not have a
That's
chance,
okay.
so
Don't worry about it.
Or did I?
I will take a look too.
I just did one for, just a little.
Did you do yours? Oh, you did yours for Holden?
Yeah, as soon as I found out it was due, I was just like, I'm just gonna do it, cause it's
Yeah.
gonna make me nuts if I just, it's hanging over my head, so.
Smart. get it done.
I'm the person chasing everybody down for their reports. And I
Alright,
was like, I better write.
just get it
my own.
done.
Yep.
So if you guys have any feedback, let me know. If I don't hear from you, should I just assume that we're good? Do you feel like it needs to be on another agenda or just have individual responses?
I would say if you don't hear back, assume members are good,
Okay.
and obviously if you hear back and people have comments, they'll let you know.
Bring it
Let's
back.
let's plan for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Let's plan. I don't think we need it. I would say we probably don't need it on the agenda for next time, but the plan will be if anybody has comments, just send them to Tamika prior to our next meeting.
Perfect.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you for pulling that together.
Oh,
Tamika.
you're welcome.
Okay. Next item, Community Expo and Big Night. Talk about plans for participation. We'll start with maybe Community Expo first. So that's March 30th.
Yep.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know where we are at all with this, so.
Rutland is taking the reins on the expo itself.
We are signed up though, right?
You are signed
You are
up.
signed up.
Okay,
Yep,
good.
you're good to
That's-
go.
Yeah, so we have from last expo, we have a giant bag of materials, like for display and stuff, but we were thinking about adding vernal pool stuff. I think Brian has some things he wanted to bring, and then we could do some native plant stuff. If you had anything in mind, George, just for like simple stuff for like maybe a pamphlet or brochure, a handout,
Yeah. I
something
don't-
maybe that would get the kids excited about
Yeah,
native plants and pollinators. We have time to
Sort of
think about it,
activity.
yeah.
We have a couple weeks.
but do we have to, I saw the email came through to me about what is your activity, like they were asking what is your activity gonna be, and I don't think I've answered that question.
That's okay.
Is that okay?
Do we need an activity?
No, you don't have to have an activity. I think they're trying to gauge kind of what to expect and how to set people up so that people have ample space if depending on what they're doing.
If they are doing an activity, if they need
Exactly,
room.
yeah,
That makes
cause there's
sense,
a
okay.
pretty wide spread of groups that are involved. I think they're up to maybe 23, 24
Saw the list, it's pretty
participants.
huge.
Yeah, there's a really good turnout this year. A combination of town departments, nonprofit organizations, boards and commissions. And Brian and I spoke last week and we got some big maps printed
Yep,
out.
we got
So
those
if you
in the
guys
truck.
wanna
That's great.
display
Yeah, thank
your
you.
maps to kind of, encourage conversation.
Yeah, do we have any easels?
Easels with the, like foam board that we can attach them to, or
Yeah, we might have to order it because I checked with Carrie, she only had one. I know that some of the other boards that I'm aware of have started ordering supplies on their own, so if we need to, we could do that.
How many do we need?
we don't, I had you print off every map from the open space plan, we probably don't need to display each map.
Yep.
But the vernal pool map, the open space map, open space recreation map would be good.
How big are those sheets, do you remember?
Well, they're,
Oh, they're big, they're
They're-
36 by 24, I
or something
think,
like
yeah,
that,
they're
yeah.
full,
Standard
they're full
full scale.
size.
Okay,
Plan set. We do have a small supplies budget in the general line item, so if you'd like me to order, a couple things,
I have foam boards at my office and easels. So
Yeah, I might have,
I
I know
can-
I have foam board,
I'm sure I can grab some and
Oh,
borrow them,
that's
I don't think,
great.
I
Okay.
don't think that'll be a problem.
that'd be great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I
Perfect.
wanna say I have at least 2 easels, and I probably have at least a half dozen foam boards, probably. I'll see
Okay.
what I have and I'll grab what we have.
Awesome. Thank you,
Great.
Jared.
I got a
Homegrown
bunch of
national
them.
parks might have something
I'm sorry?
already, homegrown national parks might have an already put together something or other that you can
Print off.
print off.
okay,
If you guys need help with printing stuff, just let me know and I can get some materials printed for you.
okay.
I can also grab, usually when I put plans on boards, I'll just like clip them to the board, so I can grab some clips too. And if we want, we could put like multiple plans on one board, clip them, and then you could just flip
Flip
through
'em
if you
over,
wanna, if you wanna look at something different, yeah. But I'll see how many boards I have and,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
yeah.
And I am working on getting some live specimens for kids to see and maybe even handle.
That's an activity, right?
Like a salamander? Like a
Probably
big
more
one?
along the lines of non-vernal, like turtles and stuff.
Okay.
But
That's good to
probably not salamanders unless I can find the right people who
handle
have the
salamanders.
licenses for those. But
Okay.
Yeah,
at least I've secured the turtles, so.
yeah,
Awesome.
I'll bring the hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
So the parents don't get,
Right.
Jeremy turtle and then eat.
It's right in the corner.
Right, bring that jug, we have a jug of it.
The fat, sanitizer. Okay. That
So-
sounds like a
So
good
yeah,
plan.
if you guys can think of anything else to bring or do, or what, the kids would like, or
Right,
Wild ones too might have stuff.
wild ones.
That's another native plant initiative that's in, I think they're out of Massachusetts.
Good to know.
so on the agenda, we don't have the book reading, but that went off real well for, limited advertising. We had about, kids and parents, we had about 20 people, in the other room the larger room. Seemed to go real well, the librarian loved it, and she's hoping that we can continue outreach activities throughout the year. So that, yeah, I think it was great. I had the vernal pool map that you printed, and all the parents were like, whoa, so they're excited about that. And then the first big night, we did it in Holden, in conjunction with the Holden ConComm, over on Whitney Street. That was Sunday night. Tons of wood frogs and spring peepers, one salamander. And then we tried over on Crestview in Rutland last night, and it was just too cold. So it was just a couple degrees too cold. So we're hoping this coming Friday we can have another more successful event, but we probably had last night we probably had 20 little kids just running around, stomping in puddles and.
Cause
Oh,
we
yeah, they
only
had
just
some-
put it out yesterday
So much fun
morning,
anyways,
so-
anyways.
I mean, every van that pulled up, they opened the door and kids just poured out, like
That's great.
parents and grandparents, and they're excited about it, so there's definitely community interest in getting outside and enjoying nature and.
And it's new because we've never really done that here in town, so it's great that you've really shared your interest with the community, and I've heard nothing but positive feedback. People are really excited.
Yeah, they seem to
about
be.
this migration.
Yeah, I was really, honestly, I was shocked because I was supposed to put the post up like a week ago, and that was just like the day, what was it, the day before?
The one in Holden was a day, maybe two before, yeah.
Yeah, and there was like,
And there were
wow,
at least 20.
Tony
I mean,
Vila and like
The
Tom
commissioner of
O'Shea
Mass
and
Fish Game was there
fishing
with
game
his
was
son
there with
too.
his son.
Nice.
So,
That's awesome.
Tom O'Shea was great.
and they have these events in other towns and cities, Amherst and Acton and Air, Bolton, and they get
Littleton.
tons of support, hundreds of people showing up and the police help and
Maybe we'll
so
get to that.
that's what I'm hoping for
Yeah,
eventually.
gain some traction.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Just a fun way to get the public involved in what we're doing
Yes.
and understand why we're doing what we do.
Awesome. This will help remind me, and everybody probably already knows, Expo timeline, is it 11?
It's 11:30 to 3.
30 to 3.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna write this down.
And the boards and commissions will be set up indoors, and then outdoors will be reserved for like the public safety, DPW departments, and there will be 3 food trucks here as well.
Awesome, awesome, that's great.
So many activities in Rutland.
I know.
That's one thing I noticed, like
This
it's
is a happening
really
place,
nice
huh?
community, like people do stuff and
We have pride in the town.
It's great.
it's really great. I mean, even like the 4th of July, I was like, wow, this is so cool.
That's,
Yeah.
yeah, that's always a big event.
That and the Festival of Trees.
Nice.
Well, the townwide yard sale, they just announced that yesterday.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
I
saw
saw
that, yeah.
The fundraiser for the 4th of July events, so that's gonna be Saturday, April 26th.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's kinda like the big kickoff event to
Yeah, it's
what's to come.
I missed the chili chowder festival.
I know, a lot of people do.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, that
I was
part
it
was
back.
fun.
I was bummed when that one went.
Yeah.
How long ago was that? I don't remember.
Gosh, at least 5
Yeah, more than that
They
maybe.
used to set up in Memorial
Yeah, it
Field,
might even
and
be
all the
closer
local
to-
restaurants would come and they would do a challenge, and so they would do chili and chowder, and you'd get your bracelet and everybody would take the food and vote.
Okay.
And then there would be like the declared winner.
That's awesome.
And I forget the reason why it kinda went defunct. I don't,
COVID?
No.
that, it wasn't
It was
COVID?
before
Way
COVID.
before COVID.
Yeah,
Way
I
before
don't
COVID.
remember why. And then we did the food truck festival a couple years and that didn't work out, so hey, maybe somebody can restart it.
The
Why
food
they
truck
stopped.
festival, I remember that, that was
Yeah.
fun, yeah.
Just a quick update, it's not on the agenda, but I heard back from town council today. They've drafted the language for us for our warrant article because the select board opened the warrant last night. So I officially submitted the warrant article request today so that can be put on the warrant for annual town meeting. I had sent out the red line comments that we had received from town council. So I plan to put that on the next agenda so that you guys can address if you're okay with accepting them or if you have any feedback. The bylaw committee, Barbara's probably gonna post a meeting just in case they wanna join in on the conversation, but they'd really like to leave it to you guys as the subject matter experts. I'll make sure that I have the bylaw and any additional information for the meeting packet for town meeting. And then, of course, I think I mentioned last time, just having at least one representative there in case there's questions.
So Rutland ATM's when?
Saturday, May 10th at 6 p.m. at Glenwood.
If we do have any questions on town council's comments, do we just send those back to you, Tamika?
Yep, so you can
Okay.
send them back to me and I'll disseminate them.
Okay.
He said he was open to any questions or comments that you
Okay.
guys had.
I'll definitely shoot you an email, cause the first thing I noticed, which is, I just pulled it up real quick, is they did strike or within 25 feet of their borders, which is our attempt of basically getting the no disturb zone into the bylaw. Not that we can't still put it in the regulations, we will. But I noticed that they had strike that out, and there's probably a reason they did, so.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Yeah, so I'll probably shoot you an email maybe just to ask them the reasoning for
Yeah.
it, just so we know.
Absolutely, and then we can bring it back for the next meeting.
I gotta look through the rest of it. A lot of the other comments I saw looked fine to me, but I wanna give it a full once over.
Okay.
Okay, then we can talk about that at our next meeting. Okay, I think that's it for our listed agenda items. Anything else anybody wants to chat about?
You did a great job.
Oh, thanks,
Melissa would be proud.
thanks.
Yeah, she's proud of him
I
already.
mean, it's 7:40, so she can only be so proud.
I know. It's before
She would have been,
8.
she would have done like an hour ago. I'll work on it, be more efficient.
All right.
Take a motion to close the hearing?
Close the hearing, close the meeting,
Close the meeting, sorry, yes.
move to adjourn.
No second.
No discussion at all, right? Good, roll call.
Williamson, aye.
York on that.
Not good.
Jeff Lucci, aye. We are closed. Thanks, everyone.